Washington's clear-thinking headquarters. The Morning Majority, 5 to 9 on 630 WMAL.
7:37. Let's get right to it. Stuart Varney is on the phone, the man, the myth, the legend. He's from the Fox Business Network. He's here to tell us exactly what's going on, what we should expect, and to bring clarity to our thought on the issue of the debt limit discussions. Stuart, how are you?
Actually, I'm kind of steamed, Brian. I hate to tell you that.
Let her go. Let her rip. Let us go right ahead, Stuart.
I think that three of the main players in this debt debate are acting irresponsibly, putting their political interests ahead of the country's interests.
And who would those be?
Okay, Tim Geithner, Senator Reid, and President Obama. I'll take them in order. Tim Geithner goes out and says the weakness in the economy is because of the uncertainty over the debt talks. Nonsense. The weakness in the economy is because of the uncertainty over Obamacare, the EPA regulations, and Dodd-Frank. Second, Harry Reid goes out there and says, I've got a plan which does not raise taxes, but which cuts $2.4 trillion worth of spending. Nonsense. It does no such thing. It does not even approach entitlements and counts $1 trillion into that equation from the winding down of the Afghan and Iraq wars. Third, President Obama. They get close to a deal, apparently, from what I am told, but President Obama won't have it because raising the debt ceiling will not take him past the next election. All three of them putting their political interests, playing, I think, rather cheap politics at the expense of this country's finances. I think it's a disgrace.
In fact, this weekend there was a statement by Harry Reid who said that I've talked to Nancy Pelosi, I know how I feel, I've talked to the president. The one thing that we cannot do is accept a deal that doesn't push this beyond the 2012 cycle.
That is pathetic. Since when has the election cycle dictated our national finances? Well, today it does, and it really shouldn't.
Well, if those guys are the three not wise men, the opposite of that, then what should Republicans do at this point? They have cut cap and balance passed. It's been tabled in the Senate. There's talk that John Boehner is working on a deal that maybe isn't as stringent as cut cap and balance, but is in that framework. Other people say, you know what, we shouldn't even be negotiating with ourselves. We passed a bill. Let's see what the Senate can do and put it on the president's desk. What do you think Republicans should do at this point, Stuart?
I think Speaker Boehner should come up with a short-term plan that raises the debt ceiling by X number of dollars and cuts spending by the same X number of dollars. A clean, simple, raise it and cut spending, put it on the table, and put it on the table now. If he should know in advance that he can get it past his caucus, and I think he could do that.
That's the problem, Stuart. We just had Congressman Jim Jordan on from Ohio, or Republican Ohio. We'd think he might be a friend of the speakers because they're both from the same state, both Republicans. He said, and he was standing behind cut, cap, and balance, and said that was what we needed to do, and he wasn't necessarily going to sign on to anything the speaker offered up.
Okay, well, look, cut, cap, and balance has essentially been tabled. It's dead. And I don't know how you can revive it, but if you had a deal from Speaker Boehner, he goes out and says, we'll cut $1 trillion and we'll raise the debt ceiling $1 trillion, no new taxes, no new revenue. He would get that past his caucus. It will be on the table, passed by the House, and presented to the Senate and the President. Clean cut, short term, do it. Avoid the deadline.
With no talk of grand bargain in the future or plans for putting that into action, or with that?
I think you'd have to have talk of a grand bargain in the future to get it through your House caucus.
Yeah.
But that, to me, is a very secondary thing. Time is running out. The deadline approaches. Get this debt ceiling raised, get spending cuts put in place, and get on with it.
I wonder what you thought about the president's rhetoric at his Friday press conference. There were some people who objected to him sort of talking up a crisis pre-Monday before the markets opened, and then it seemed like the Asian market didn't react as badly as people thought it might.
In a very touchy negotiating situation, you should not come out, command the bully pulpit, and attack vigorously your political opponents. I think that was the wrong thing to do.
So what are you looking for as far as the markets go? If there is some kind of effect, a ripple effect, are you looking at the stock numbers? Are you looking at the bond markets? Are you looking at gold? What are you looking at so we could say, hey, the markets are definitely a little jittery right now?
Gold. Gold is the thing to look at, and gold is going straight up this morning. You've got a new record high price around $1,620. It's gone up 10% in the past 6 weeks. That is a significant run, and it implies that there really is a sense of anxiety and unease about the financial future around the world. I'm looking at gold. Now, the stock market is probably going to open lower this morning, but it's not a panic open by any means. You may be down 70, 80, 90, maybe 100 points for the Dow Industrials. But the stock market will depend very much on any statement by any politician. If you get some kind of short-term deal to raise the debt ceiling, and you get that soon, you'll see that stock market go straight up. If talks continue to break down, or if one of the rating agencies comes in now and says, hey, you're downgraded, the stock market goes straight down.
What is the worst-case scenario? The worst-case scenario is that people get so freaked out by this, those that hold bonds are just going to sell them altogether. Is that what really would start this downward death spiral that some people say could happen?
Yes, that would be one of the worst-case scenarios, and it could be the bond market that starts a rapid sell-off. The Federal Reserve could step in to help out the bond market. You could see that happen, and I think, frankly, it would be likely to happen if there were some kind of real funding crisis and a run on treasuries. I think the Fed would step in.
And it is possible, right, that the Federal Reserve could sell some bonds as well to help get money. Is that is a possibility as well. So there's some things that Ben Bernanke certainly can do to help out Tim Geithner here.
Yes, there are. There are indeed. That's why the action may not be centered in the bond market. If you get some kind of panic because we crossed the deadline with no debt ceiling raised, I think the primary markets for movement would be gold up, stocks down. But bonds, I'm not sure, because there are sort of escape routes for the bond market.
So if you're one of those people who are a little nervous about the market, you're looking at your 401k, you're wondering, how you're going to survive all this, what do you tell people like that? To stay the course is what you generally say. Are you still saying that?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. If you've got big-name, multinational American corporations in your portfolio, your downside is limited. Quite really limited. I mean, if the market goes down significantly, your stocks will probably not go down as much. That's where I would be.
Now, there are some people who will also say, hey, you know what? Even if there is a downgrade from AAA to AA or whatever it would be, the American economy, the American dollar, our bond, our debt is still better than any place else. So even if you downgrade it to AA, it's still the best thing around. Is that accurate?
That is not strictly accurate. There'll be a ripple effect. You downgrade the American Treasury's debt, and some organizations, like some money funds, would not be able to hold those Treasury securities, would have to sell them. That would create the downward spiral. As bond prices go down, interest rates would go up. As interest rates go up, the economy slows, and that's the fallout for the general population.
All right, Stuart. Good to have you on, as always. We appreciate your insights.
Thank you.